Chapter 7 focuses on statistics, and statistics is like you are an investigator. So the first thing you do is you must ask a question. What is it that I want to find out more information about? Once I've asked that question, the second thing I need to do is collect the evidence, which we're going to call the data. Now, data is plural, datum is singular. Third item I'm going to do is I'm going to analyze the data, both using a picture, so we're going to draw and create a graphical display, as well as numerically. Now, when we do it numerically in analyzation, we're looking at a number, and that number is going to tell us some specifics about my data itself. And the last thing, once we've done all this, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to interpret the results. So we're going to look and say, what does this picture and what do these numbers really tell me about the question that I was asking? Data then has two types. We have qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative, if you think it is a quality. And a quality then is going to be what we consider a category. So we also refer to it as categorical data. Now, it doesn't always have to be a word like female, male, red, white, blue. It can be a number. But there's something specific about that number. And that number can't be averaged. In other words, if I add your Social Security number to mine, that doesn't give me any result that has any meaning at all. Again, if I add your zip code to my zip code, again, no meaning. And then we have data that is quantitative. Quantity, in other words, that's a number that we can average. So if we take your age and add my age, then we kind of have the average age of the people in the room. So it is a value and it can be averaged. Now, we're going to look at, first of all, drawing pictures of our data. Then we're going to go back and do some collection and some numerical analyzation. So first of all, with our pictures, we're going to start with a bar and a pie. And this is actually going to be your Excel graph that you're going to be creating using a small package of M&Ms. When you do a bar graph, what a bar graph is going to do is it's going to compare qualities. In other words, this is qualitative data. What we're looking for when we draw a bar graph is we're looking for maybe the tallest or the shortest bar. And there's a couple things when you construct a bar graph that you need to be careful of. So that you don't or turn out deceiving, what you must do is make the base the same width. Now the computer will do this for you, but it's something to look out for when you're reading bar graphs. So the base must be the same width. There's going to be equal spacing between the bars. And just remember this, the height of the bar represents the frequency. Now frequency is how frequent, how often. Pie graph is also used for qualitative data. And what this does in a pie graph, it actually shows parts of the whole. So it's somewhat like a fraction. So the pie shows parts of the whole. And it shows that in pieces or pieces of the pie. And we're showing parts of the whole just like we learned in section 6.2. We're going to be dealing with a percent, so we can use comparison. So we know the percentage of dropouts, we know the percentage of females and males, not the number, but we want the percent. So how do we construct a pie graph? Well, pie sometimes is also referred to as a circle graph. And in a circle graph, if you recall, there are 360 degrees in a circle. And so what we want is the proportion of the circle in degrees. So for example, if I want 25%, that would be 1/4 of 360, which would be 90 degrees. And so what you want to do is figure it out into a proportion so you can then figure out how many degrees. And when we use a protractor to help me measure those degrees. But again, this is all done on technology, and you'll see that through your Excel. Lastly, that we're going to look at is characteristics of a population. And this is where we start getting into the numerical piece. So we'll put this in another lecture.